Hello, I'm Pastor Gordon Walsh, and I'm pastor of New Heritage Church, and we're located at the track every Sunday at 10 o'clock. So I'd love to see you. Now, this is an excerpt of this past Sunday's sermon. Now, we had a guest speaker from Texas, Dallas, Texas, Pastor Ronald Terry, and he did an awesome job preaching to us. He taught us about troubles in our lives as Christians as we walk in our life. And, you know, us being Christians, you probably think, we don't have any troubles. Well, we know that's not true. We always have a little bit of difficulties as we move in our walk with Christ, as we become sanctified, which means we move more and more like Christ. We live our lives more godly, if you will. So that's our objective. But as Christians, we still run into troubles. And he was teaching on this weekend, so he's not available, so I'm going to give this excerpt for him. Now, as we walk in our lives as Christians, you know, sometimes we get discouraged as we run into troubles at the church, and we want to blame it on God, you know, and a lot of times I've seen Christians in the past where they're going to church, they're full on board, you know, they've got, maybe they're leading small groups, or they're participating in the church, they're doing volunteer work in the church, and they're going like gangbusters, and then all of a sudden something happens, and they get upset, and then they leave that church. And then sometimes just the one occasion takes place and they don't go back to church, or they go to another church and same thing goes on, and they're going like gangbusters, and something happens and they get hurt in the church, and then they leave that church, and then eventually they stop going. You know, but the issue is here is it's not God, because they're blaming God, or they're blaming Christianity or so forth. But it's like if you went to a restaurant, you know, let's say you go to a restaurant and you get something to eat and the food's bad, or the waitress is bad, or both, you know. It was a very bad experience. Does that mean you stop going to restaurants? You don't believe in restaurants anymore? Or you just stop going to that one particular restaurant? You know, and that's the way we need to look at being as Christ followers. You know, we want to be with others around us, to sharpen each other, to hold each other up, to hold each other accountable. And by not going to church, that just makes us more vulnerable with the enemy. And now, you know, I don't want you to be here, and let's say you're a home church, and you go to a home church, and there's, you know, let's say 10 or 15 of you meeting at this house every week, and you're getting together. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the person that never gathers with other Christians. The Bible warns us about that. So we got to be careful. So when we're going through troubles, we want to make sure that we're staying righteous in the Lord. Cry out to the Lord. Now let's look at Psalms 34, and we're going to do verses 17 and 18. Now we teach out of the New King James Version. If you have a different version, that's okay. It's going to basically say the same thing, a few different words here. So, the righteous cry out, and the Lord hears them and delivers them out of their troubles. The Lord is near to those who have a broken heart, and saves such as have contrite spirit. So remember that as we walk with the Lord and you're going through troubles, cry out to God and say, Lord, here I am, hear my cry. And He's going to hear your cry, and He's going to bring you closer, and He's going to help you with that situation, whatever it may be. But remember, He doesn't want us to do this walk alone anyways. You know, get with other Christians, other people that can help you in your situation. But don't blame God or even the church on individuals, man's stupidity. Remember, there is a home for you. So make sure you seek that out and find that home. And if you're lost and you're not going to a church right now, hey, come check ours out. I'd love to see you there, you know. So let's turn to Philippians 4, verse 6 and 7. Because God doesn't want us to be anxious. He doesn't want us to be like, oh, you know, contrite with the situation. So let's read there. Be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication. With thanksgiving, let us request be made known to God. Let your request be made known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your heart and minds through Christ Jesus. So, turn it over to God. Whatever situation you're in, turn it over to God, and God will help you with that situation. Bring it to the cross. Bring it to Jesus. If you like this sermon, come join us on Sunday. These are only small excerpts. They're somewhere around 5 to 10 minutes. You can get the whole message, and you can talk, and you can ask questions. We are an interactive church. You can text in questions, and we'll answer them right there. So we're located at the track every Sunday at 10 o'clock. We'd love to see you there. Just come on inside the building, and you'll see us. Also, you can call me at 509-628-2274. Find me on Facebook at Heritage TC or our webpage at heritagetc.org. God bless, and I look forward to seeing you.